Don't break that up. I want to kill turtles.
Okay. Die, turtles.
All right, welcome to Side 1, Side B with Dave and Steve. I'm Dave.
And I'm Steve.
And we have a guest with us today. Will you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Still Petey.
Still Petey.
Still Petey.
Still Petey.
Still Petey.
So what do you guys know about political turmoil?
The political term for oil? I think it's just oil.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's a nice waveform.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is where I feel kind of ridiculous. Out of my three main coworkers, my boss is half Filipino. The other guy who does almost the exact same thing I do, he was adopted when he was like 3 months old, but he's Guatemalan by birth, and based on what things are being decided, there's a possibility that they could try and deport him for fucking no goddamn reason. And the other gal is a lesbian, and yet I'm the one, the cishet white guy, who's the most worried about the incoming administration. I'm the one going, I don't really feel safe in this country anymore.
Can they deport us to like a nice place? Like, well, pretty much anywhere.
I don't know. Enemy within, deport us. Honestly, if they deported me to Mexico, I'd just move to Mexico City and chill.
The Enemy Within is a pretty good Rush song. So
The problem is they won't deport you. They might just put you in fucking prison or concentration camp.
Yeah. Yeah.
yay!
Anywho, what do you guys know about the Tom Robinson Band?
Sing if you're glad to be gay. Sing if you're happy this way.
Hey.
Same.
Yeah. So Tom Robinson Band, they were kind of on the pub rock side of like the British punk scene. They came a little later than the first wave, so they were, like after the Clash, the Sex Pistols and the Damned and all that.
I will say this, every time I hear the name Tom Robinson Band, I think of, I don't know, like a Gilligan's Island get up for some reason. Like, I just imagine them playing in like Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah, but their music sounds a lot like, it doesn't sound exactly like Elvis Costello, but it's more in the Elvis Costello end of punk than like the Sex Pistols end in terms of sound. But in terms of like politics, it's much more on the radical side, which you'll definitely hear as we listen to the album. Which is interesting that it was like more of like the mainstream pub sound than like the snotty punk sound, but the politics are way far, like Gang of Four, far left.
Right.
Nice.
No, that's... I'm going to appreciate that, too, I think, because... So, something that dawned on me a few years ago is... so many punk bands raging against the government. And you look at the lyric sheet and it's like, you know what? I agree with his lyrics. This makes sense to me. But how are you supposed to get a message when someone just hears,
Yeah.
that doesn't do anything. And then, years later, you have someone like Lady Gaga or Christina Aguilera come out with a song, and it's like, oh, I love that song. Maybe I should stop being mean to gay people.
Yeah.
Way more change to society than.
Yeah. Yeah, this was like the kind of like bar music that, features like organ and piano prominently, like a lot of the more like pub rock of the punk rock bands did. Tom Robinson Band was like one of the big parts of Rock Against Racism when that started. So it was like them up there with, like The Clash and Stiff Little Fingers and Sham 69 doing all the songs about defending immigrants and all that from Eric Clapton. And, and so, yeah, it was like more radical music, but in a much more approachable way than a lot of the more traditionally sounding punk bands. Yeah, Tom Robinson was like he was a young gay activist who just kind of formed a band and wanted to do his thing. It's very, very kind of like London, we live on the streets, working stiff stuff. The cover, here, I'm gonna grab the case.
All right, so that is a fist.
Yes.
Not like the Saint Anger fist that I have across the room there. This is more of a resistance fist.
Yeah.
Where the Saint Anger fist is a lot angrier and, would probably feel terrible in your butt. This one would probably feel better in your butt, I'd say.
That is like the solidarity fist, like the kind you the kind you see like with the Black Panthers and things like that.
Yeah.
It came with the original pressing, included a stencil of the cover, which would have been cool, and it held the warning: the stencil is not meant for spraying on public property. Which you can hear the wink there.
Reminds me of that story about that company would sell like bricks of solution that you'd like put in your cabinet for a few months during the Prohibition, and it would turn into wine, and it'd be like, don't put this item in a jar in the back of your cabinet for 3 months because then it would turn into wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it also says, including bonus LP featuring 2468 Motorway and Glad to Be Gay.
Yeah, so this is the U.S. pressing of the album, and they decided to do something which I think is better than what The Clash decided to do with their U.S. pressing. Rather than replace songs with the non-album singles that everyone wanted to hear, it was like, let's just do the original LP as is, and then do a bonus LP with all the singles on it.
Nice.
And so it's a double album.
Let's see, on the back, we got a photo shoot of the band here, and they're sitting mostly cross-legged, except for the guitarist, Danny Kuslow, and I assume since he doesn't have his legs crossed, he's probably dead. And that's the symbolism there. So he's dead and was replaced. But the rest of them are fine. So we got Dolphin Taylor on drums and vocals, Tom Robinson on BS and vocals, Danny Kuslow on guitar vocals, in quotes because he's dead, and then Mark Ambler on org fno. TRB is a rock band formed January 77 through series of lucky breaks and much support from diehard fans. We landed recording contract that August with British Hits, October, November with 2468 Motorway. This is our first album, so
yeah. Tom Robinson has said that, like, in retrospect, he regrets not putting 2468 Motorway and Glad to Be Gay on the original LP. He just felt like at the time that wasn't necessary since they'd already come out as singles.
Oh yeah, I gotcha. There's also a paragraph here that looks interesting, so I'll go ahead and read it. We got, politics isn't party broadcasts and general elections. It's your kid's sister who can't get an abortion, your best mate getting packy bashed or sent down for possessing one joint of marijuana, the DLC deciding which bands we can't see. It's everyday life for rock fans, for everyone who hasn't got a cushy job or rich parents. I got no illusions about the political left any more than the right, just a shrewd idea which of the two sides is going to stomp on us first. All of us, you, me, rock and rollers, punks, long hairs, dope smokers, squatters, students, unmarried mothers, prisoners, gays, the jobless, immigrants, gypsies. To stand aside is to take sides. If music can ease even a tiny fraction of the prejudice and intolerance in this world, then it's worth trying. I don't call that unnecessary overtones of violence. I call it standing up for your rights. And if we fail, if we all get swallowed up by the big business before we achieve a thing, then we'll have to face the scorn of tomorrow's generation. But we're going to have a good try. Fancy joining us, Tom Robinson in New Musical Express.
I don't disagree with any of that. Yeah. I will point out that the term gypsy is largely considered a slur now. It's less considered a slur among the British Romani, but there you have it.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, they're talking. I mean, I was literally a baby when this would have come out. So
yeah, and that it wasn't really until recently till people started to realize that wasn't the best term to use. But yeah.
Produced by Chris Thomas, engineered by Bill Price. Assistant engineer Jerry Spencer Green, recorded at Wessex Studio, back cover photo by Terry O'Neill, inner sleeve photos by Pete Vernon, and art direction by Brian Palmer.
Yeah, I love this album. I love every part of it. The funny thing is I'm not quite used to listening to it in this order because this album was out of print for reissues for a very long time. I mean, this is a used one, but for the longest time I listened to a CD greatest hits compilation that had all of the tracks of the first album in it, just in a different order and with the different singles shuffled around, and then some live tracks, and then 3 songs from the less celebrated second album. And that was considered the definitive way to listen to the band for a long time. But so this isn't the order I'm used to hearing these songs in, which is going to be fun.
now, can I see the cover?
Yes.
All right. So, I just want to point out that this fist would not feel good.
Yeah.
The proper fist should be kind of more of a wedge.
You don't put the fist in until
you got kind of work your way in.
Okay, so would the Saint Anger fist be better then?
No. It might be worse, but yeah.
Is there a fist on any album cover that would be good?
There's probably a clear album.
I gotta imagine someone.
Yeah. Well, anywho, we're gonna listen to some classic righteous pub rock punk. So
sweet.
Woohoo! Get this started.
And if you're a Nazi, then that fist will go in your face, Saint Anger or not.
See that now that would be a good fist for punching.
And we are back. Fellas, what did you think of side 1 of Power in the Darkness by the Tom Robinson Band?
I really liked the energy that they had paired along with the old school rock and roll vibe. It sounded very much like a band having a party, that kind of energy.
Yeah, I hear that. I'll go more in depth with this part of it later. It did kind of lose me a bit towards the end, but overall, fuck yeah, great.
Yeah, had a lot of the righteous stomp to it, but it also never stopped being fun.
Right.
Even when it was doing darker subject matter.
Yes.
So I thought it was funny because Long Hot Summer I really liked. Especially when the crazy organ playing came in. So I guess when I was losing you, it was gaining my interest more.
I was getting more into the psych rock when it was losing Pete. Yeah. Yeah, I really like this album. This is not the order I'm used to hearing these songs in, but I think it's a good order to present them in. I thought it did a good job of going from a couple high energy ones to kind of a mellow one to back to high energy, and then to kind of an experimental psych rock thing to close out the side. I thought it flowed really well. I really liked, like the message to it, but it wasn't just the message, because you can have a music with a good message and have it be boring. This had like good like bar band energy, like good music to stomp your feet to while getting another pint type of thing.
Yeah, it definitely kind of gave that. Definitely kind of. It gave me that kind of vibe. In fact, I remember thinking the first song at one point reminded me of Thin Lizzy, which is a very similar vibe as far as like stomping around and having fun kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the boys are back in town, and they're throwing bricks at cops. If we want, we can go side by side, or sorry, track by track. And this, for whatever reason, my sleeve listed it wrong, but this does go by the original UK order, and we had to confirm with Wikipedia which order they're going in. It's the second side should be all the same, though. Looking at it, it's just, I do feel like the order that they gave us, it flows better than the order that was actually listed on the sleeve, so that is good.
Somebody done fucked up.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure exactly. Is this like the U.S. pressing since it came with the bonus LP? But they changed it to the UK order. I don't know. But yeah.
Or maybe Tom was just being clever.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, first track, Up Against the Wall. My favorite track on the album. Having heard the whole album, this is my favorite track. I love it. I love the energy to it. Maybe part of it is I saw a live performance of it on YouTube where Tom takes off his bass and stands on top of the piano and starts singing. But yeah, it's a good song. I like the reference to the radical student group from the 60s, Up Against the Wall Motherfuckers. It's a good group to reference. There's a little... Like, one thing that's cool about this is, like, on the back sleeve, there's a little quote with each song. And the quote they pair with this song is, "A friend of mine got shot with a pellet gun. 4 little white boys attacked him, and one shot him in the face. The trouble is, when the backlash comes, we don't know which white people are on our side," which was from a teenage girl in London. I'm assuming not a white teenage girl, but yeah, a teenage girl in London in 1978.
Yeah.
This is a song for that. This was a song about brawling with fascists and cops, and like having your back against the wall, against all the forces in society that are arrayed against you. But it sounds so triumphant in a way. It's like, yeah, we're getting beat up, but we're standing together, and that's cool.
Yeah, I agree that it did have like a really great energy. I noted that it had a really solid bass line. Yeah, as you say, very serious subject matter, but a very upbeat song compared to the subject matter.
Yeah, and he was a great bass player too. Like, he was good at, like, I think that might have been where he started as a songwriter, was coming up with the bass line first. So the songs are probably built out from the bass line. I would guess. I don't know that for sure, but yeah,
there's some pretty complicated playing on this album. From all the musicians.
Noted this on one of the other songs, but you can tell that these are definitely guys that were musicians for a long time, and then punk rock and pub rock kind of happened, and they're like, well, we'll play this.
Yeah. This is good music for the kind of songs we want to write. We will do something a little more technical with it than these younger people are doing. Yeah. But it's the kind of message and the kind of energy we want.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to learn something and then say, oh, I want to make something primitive. Yeah. Bad Brains didn't go to Pay to Come.
Yeah.
But I always remember, like, I was talking to the old lead guitar player, Scott, from Belvedere, and his dad is a jazz guitar player, and started teaching him jazz guitar when he was like 4. And he's just a little bit older than me, so when he was like 8 and Appetite for Destruction came out, he loved it and said, "This is easy. I mean, this is just pentatonic blues. I can play this stuff all day long."
Yeah.
And so I kind of get that feeling of it, and so, but it's appreciative. X is another band that had that musicianship because they're all musicians before punk rock happened.
Yeah, and they were able to find, like just like something that had the energy they wanted to go at and match that. Yeah.
Now for this song in particular, pretty sparse notes, but it was punchy. And since the only song I knew before was "Glad to Be Gay" and it's acoustic, it was in every form I've heard it anyway. I really didn't quite know what to expect. I expected something, like you were saying, more Elvis Costello-y. So I was expecting more like pop.
Yeah.
Not so much pop, but just kind of like more like indie sound and.
Yeah.
And this, Steve kind of mentioned something like Thin Lizzy. Thin Lizzy definitely, I think, actually matches this. The production's different, but as far as like, I imagine if you just saw the band before they were signed, I think both of them would have similar sounds.
Oh, yeah.
Production-wise.
When I compared it to Elvis Costello, I meant like specifically his second album, which is like the one with like, I Don't Want to Go to Chelsea and Radio, just like his punchier, punky stuff. Although I think this is even harder than that. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree. But also very, I didn't know the words, but I wanted to sing along with it.
Yeah.
The vocal melodies were there, and it's just like, I just want to join in.
Yeah, that's just a great sing along chorus. Look out, listen, can you hear it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think this band doesn't get covered enough. I would love to see like local punk bands do a rendition of Up Against the Wall. I think that would be fun. That would have the same kind of, for me, that'd have the same kind of fun that I get from when I see people do People Who Died by the Jim Carroll Band. Actually, Jim Carroll Band's a pretty good comparison in terms of sound to this, I think.
Right. It's just too bad that you're not in a band that could cover this.
Oh, I'll try.
The Wall.
Well, now that maybe I can get Steve to back me up. Yeah, at a band meeting to push this one forward. Yeah.
Only after we do our Def Leppard cover.
All right, next track, Grey Cortana. The little quote on this is, one of my main ambitions in life is to own a smoke gray Silver Fox Super Deluxe Supercharged 1600 J registered Furline four-door Ford Cortana. Tom Robinson, 1978. This was like the least political song on the album so far, but it is still kind of about not being able to afford something he wants. Right. So it's not political, it's just less political.
Right.
I thought this one had a really tasty guitar solo.
Yeah, I love the guitar solo. I think it's a good song. I do kind of feel like part of it is there to, okay, I'm going to put a car song on there for the people who are disappointed that I didn't put 2468 Motorway on the album. But yeah, it's a good song. It's a solid song. It fits well as track 2 and just as a way to give a little break to the hard politics early, just to do a fun rock and roll song about a car.
Right.
Even if it's about, I wish I had this car, not, isn't it great to have this car? But yeah.
Well, I mean,
you rarely hear it from that perspective. Usually it's, I already have the car and I'm in love with it and I want to stick my dick in the tailpipe.
Yeah.
But see, and that's, I've never written a song about a car, but if I did, I would employ the same rules I have when writing love songs. Never write about the love you have. Write about a love you lost, or unrequited love, a love you'll never have. But never say, I met a girl, things are going great, I love her, she loves me.
Because then if it doesn't work out, you can never play that song live again. Well, you can, but then it's going to be weird.
But it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just cheesy, shitty subject matter.
Oh, it is, yeah.
I mean, no. But I thought it was fun is the first word that came to mind with this song. And I agree. Not only with Steve, but like the solo was great, but I fucking love the intro into the solo. It's like, and then it just comes out rocking. I loved that. The one thing that surprised me here, though, is I heard a lot of similarities to Skynyrd on this song.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of there's kind of the southern rock. Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't have slide guitar, but it evokes slide guitar. Yeah.
Yeah. But it just has, it has that kind of that boogie feel.
Yeah. It's a song you can dance to without it being like a dance song.
Right.
Yeah. And all good songs about cars have a driving beat, in my opinion. Like you want something with a steady pace, and this had that in spades. A steady but kind of fast pace, but not like as fast as Ain't Gonna Take It later in the album is, but just kind of like, something with a lot of forward momentum to it.
See, that's what I always like about Tracy Chapman's Fast Cars, like that fast driving beat pushing the song.
Yeah, there are exceptions to every rule, but that's not about the car so much. It's about other things.
Yeah.
But
yes, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the most boomer story that I have in my my collection of stories about myself. I once got pulled over while listening to Sammy Hagar's "I Can't Drive 55."
How fast were you driving?
75.
So can you sue Sammy Hagar for that ticket? Yeah.
I think it's past the statute of limitations, but I really should have sent it to him. Sammy Hagar, it's like when they took like Judas Priest and Frank Zappa and whatever in front of the Senate and tried to blame things that happened on their lyrics. It's the same thing. Sammy Hagar encouraged me to drive fast.
Yeah.
And it's his fault.
Yeah.
Tipper Gore was right.
Yeah. There are a lot of good solos on this album. I think Ray Cortana was my favorite one, or at least on this side.
Yeah, there's the next song. I also noted I love the guitar solo on it too.
Yeah.
So
Too Good to Be True. That it is following the kind of like the general rule of the flow of a rock album. Slow down a little bit on track 3, but that's fine. I liked how sunny the organ sounded.
Well, it wasn't just slowing down. It was loungy.
Yeah,
it's really loungy.
I loved it.
Yeah, like the bass, like kind of like a groovy, but not groovy in like a groove rock, but like lounge. This is something you could like put a glass of whiskey on top of the piano and smoke a few cigarettes too. Yeah.
The entire time I was listening to it, I was thinking of that game Leisure Suit Larry.
Perfect. That's perfect. But as far as the solo though on this one, schmaltzy.
Yeah.
Fucking, it was just great, and the dude has a fucking great voice.
Yeah.
He really just does.
Yeah. He knows exactly how to use his voice in like a variety of songs, and it just works. Oh yeah, the quote for this one: "Facing a phase in the future, hoping I get something to lose, too good to be true." So just like the whole thing, like it's about like false hope.
Well, and one of the things that I noted is like I was picturing like being like drunk and lost on the Vegas Strip or something like along those lines, and like the bass and the organ sounded like so sleazy. It was so good. I loved it. This might be my favorite on the album, or the side anyway.
So far, yeah.
That's my thought too, actually.
Yeah. And then right after it, Ain't Gonna Take It, gonna punk it up after doing the loungy stuff. Quote on that: "You cannot have your liberty at someone else's expense. Freedom is invisible." Edward Bond, 1976. Love that quote. Agree with it. Yeah. This one, good, like high energy punk stomper. I love the way the organ filled in the spaces. Also, probably the least essential song so far on the album.
This is one I think if I would have known about it when I was like a teenager, like this is one I probably would have put on when like my parents pissed me off. Be like, "Ain't gonna take it," like I would have with I don't know, like the Twisted Sister song.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
"We're not gonna take it." Steve, just do the dishes.
Yeah. Yeah, the political
Actually,
song.
Steve, I'll be in your kitchen. Do your dishes.
I have bad plumbing. And a bad brain.
But yeah, good song. Just like out of all the songs on this side, to me, it's the one that stands out the least. But it's nothing wrong with it.
It was more vicious than I expected.
Yeah.
But maybe just because it came after the loungy song too, so that might be. But it wasn't overdoing it. It wasn't like, "Oh, here's the rocker where we're gonna get angry." It wasn't like that. It
Yeah.
was just, but it definitely came out hard hitting. And I found myself wanting to whistle along with it, and it was like, whistleable.
Yeah.
That song is singable. This is whistleable.
Yeah. But yeah, good song. And then Long Hot Summer, quote with that. So this one pig went to hit her again, and I said, hey, why don't you leave her alone? She ain't hardly bothering you none. And that is a quote by Jimmy Centola on the Stonewall riots in New York City, 1969. I'll say personally, this song means a lot to me because it was one of the songs I would listen to before going to a protest in 2020. So yeah, this is like I love this song. This one's good. I like the like spooky organ intro until the drums do the lead in, and it just goes into like a wild psych rock song from there.
Yeah,
like,
I love the organ playing on it.
Yeah, it's like I mean, I put like more hard rock than anything, but like Thin Lizzy with a tinge of psychedelia.
Yeah,
really. You know, especially like the doubling isn't quite the right term, but like how they almost had like that octave effect.
Yeah.
On the solo. Mm-hmm. I really love that, especially how it went from that into kind of that breakdown a little bit, and then kicks into the chorus. And then things got fuzzy there because like it went back to the doubling. I was like, all right, okay, cool. I'm liking this. And then I was like, now might be going a little bit, dragging on a little bit too much. Oh, the solo, I like the solo. Oh, you know, now it's going to this John Lord-esque organ thing. I don't really need that, and okay, now it's just doing too much, and sometimes it's hard to self-edit.
See, when it was doing the John Lord organ part, I was like,
So it's the song that was written for Steve.
I need to change my pants. I made messes on both ends.
But yeah, like one thing I like about this album is, you know, you hear a lot of songs that are both like, or a lot of albums, like especially in like this general genre and from this particular time that are both, you know, like righteous and dirty. And this was righteous and dirty, but this was also sleazy. You don't hear a lot of songs that are righteous and sleazy. Usually when you hear stuff that sounds sleazy, it's stuff like the Stranglers. And this had that, just that grimy lounge singer thing going just enough to keep it really interesting.
You know what's funny is the title and the vibe of the song for some reason reminded me of, I don't know, like those old teenager movies like Porky's for some reason.
Yeah. And it's not like, and the lyrics aren't really sleazy.
No, not at all.
It's
but
like
the vibe
the
was.
music. Yeah.
No, this is, or like one of the various early 2000s teenagers want to get laid movies. You know, they made 1,000 of those.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I kind of like the dissonance too between, you know, like the, you know, like really righteous political lyrics, but with the let's just have the trashiest party we can music. Yeah.
You know, I was watching the movie Downfall today, and it just kind of reminds me of the scenes where, like, all the Nazis are, like, partying while the Soviets are bombing them.
Yeah.
They're like, well, fuck it.
Yeah. It's having a party at the end of the world.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, so that was the first side. Second side, all bangers too. I'm looking at the flow of it, and like I've listened to the songs in this order before, but I've so much more internalized the way I'm used to listening to it that I don't remember how it flows in comparison. But yeah, this is all songs I like, and I don't think it falls off, but we will see as we listen to it this way.
Is this is this one that you acquired recently?
On vinyl, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's one that I found at a vinyl store for pretty cheap, and I was like, this is a great album. I love all these songs. Even if I'm used to listening to them in a different order, I should have this, and I got this after the podcast came out. I got this because I wanted to put it on the podcast.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that explains why you're not used to the order. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, let's put it on.
No, f***ing are one of those words that have meant a lot. Like most of the things it has meant over the decades, centuries, has been insulting, but it's meant a lot of different things.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I first, because there's that book, from elementary school, A Bundle of Sticks. And if I remember right, they didn't actually say the word. They just said, a bundle of sticks? What was that? What does that mean?
A bundle of sticks. Yeah, so that was side B of Power in the Darkness. What'd you guys think?
That was really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Rough beginning, but they brought it home.
Yeah, like I think Winter of '79 is probably the weakest track on this side. It's funny though, hearing it in this context is like, when I was looking at the track list, I was like, oh, that's a weird place to put it, because I remembered it being slower than it actually was, mainly because it felt slower with the compilation that had every single one of these tracks. But
Right.
but just in a different order. But yeah, it was...
Winter of '79 was another one that reminded me of Thin Lizzy a bit.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I thought this side, though, as a whole, got, like, kind of, like, dancier than the first one. Like, it got more into soul than the first one did.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
I do like the first side better, for sure.
I do think the first side is better, but I think there are some, like, all-time classic moments on this one.
Yeah.
And I think I like the first side better largely because it has some songs that mean more to me personally, but yeah.
Well, God, like, Better Decide Which Side You're On is probably my favorite off the whole album. That one, it hit really hard, and, like, the way he delivered the vocals on it was, like, really venomous, and it had that loungy, sleazy vibe that a song on side one also had. That I really enjoyed. But yeah, I suppose as a entire side, I probably thought side one was stronger.
Yeah. But yeah, it's strong, fun album. Vibe shifts a little bit in the second side, but that's kind of a good way to do it. Just kind of liked the I liked the street fighting songs on the first side a little more.
Right.
Yeah. Let's go through the tracks.
Tom, if you're listening, do better on side 2.
Yeah, going through the individual songs. Winter of '79. I think it's kind of the weakest song on the album. Mm-hmm. It's weak as a side opener, but it's not bad. It's a good song. I like a lot about it too, though, is the thing. I like how it starts more personal but builds more into like a broader, more societal, political view.
The lyrics were good. But like my first thought was, the first notes I wrote was kind of losing me on this intro.
Yeah.
And then it was like, all right, this is worse than forgettable. I actively do not like this song.
One thing that was weird to me about this one is, like, all the other songs he does a good job at writing within his vocal range. This one he really strains it to some degree.
I'm going to dissent a little bit. I thought it was kind of fun. It was a crunchy pub rock guitar song with some cool key playing. It was bouncy and fun, and I really liked the solo in it.
Yeah, the solo was great.
See, I literally put a bad solo 2, and then I put, because you guys are talking, kick ass? We'll have to agree to disagree on that point.
I mean, there are a lot of great solos on this album.
Yeah.
You could maybe argue that this was the worst one, but I still thought it was good.
I mean, aren't we all on the left and we have a hive mind? We have to come to consensus on this.
But yeah, no. Like,
no infighting, like Stalin said.
Yeah. Yeah, like I thought it, like, it's not a bad song, but I just don't think it's particularly strong.
But that's one of the things I felt bad about, though, is like the song sucks. I mean, I mean the song absolutely fucking sucks. But and I didn't catch every word of the lyrics, but I'm listening to the lyrics like, this is a good message. I like what he's saying. I just really hate how he's saying.
Here's the little note on this one, and we won't be able to do it when we get to the single tracks because they don't have these notes, but Winter of '79. That was the year that Nan Harris died and Charlie Jones committed suicide. The world we knew busted open wide, and that's just lyrics from the song. But hey,
yeah.
They were good lyrics, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Next, Man You Never Saw. I thought that was a good recovery, though. This song reminded me of the Rolling Stones, kind of like the bluesy way it was, but like more in a more rock and roll way. I think the subject of police harassment is a good way to make a political song more personal and therefore more relatable and feel less like a message song. So
Right.
I always like seeing that angle. I liked the way it built to like a really big ending too.
For me, it was probably the weakest track for me on the album, and maybe part of it is it sounds like you might have a bit of a personal connection with the lyrics that helps you anchor yourself more towards it, and maybe it would grow on me the more I hear it. But overall, I enjoyed it. I'm not trashing it, but it sounds like I didn't like it as much as you guys.
Yeah.
I love the lead break and the lead playing in general, though.
Well, see, I thought it started great, and like the verse, the music behind the verse, I really like it. It actually kind of reminded me of the Dickies a little bit, that descending chord line.
Oh yeah. I can see that. Yeah.
I really like that. But then the chorus sucked. It was like that Dido song. All right, like the whole verse section is haunting. It draws you in, and then the chorus just. But I thought it was a fucking great guitar solo.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was picturing a Scooby-Doo chase sequence during it, except with like cops.
The little note on this is dump your car and burn your letters, smash your glasses, cut your hair, buy a suit and take a raincoat. When you go, don't tell us where. So yeah, it's about being on the run from the cops.
Living off the grid.
Living off the grid. I am one of those people who can look really different if I just cut off all my hair, though. So, yeah, yeah, so far, first two songs don't really match
Yeah.
the first side.
Yep, definitely weak points.
Yeah.
For the album overall.
Yeah, but I feel like it does really pick up after this point.
Oh yeah, I love the next three.
Yeah.
And the next three, they experimented with other sounds more. Although, well, I guess the next one has like a sleazy, loungy vibe. But then, yeah, they have like a blues rock song, like almost straight up blues rock, and then the cool funky song to close that out. So I really enjoyed those three songs.
The next one is Better Decide Which Side You're On. We'll start with that. Yeah.
So, I mean, what I loved about that one is it had it was almost like kind of like a. This is going to be really convoluted. A pseudo proto disco feel to it, and then it went into like this halftime polka.
Yeah.
I was like, where the fuck is this coming from? This is just goddamn amazing.
One of the things we talked about when we talked about 2468 Motorway in the Punk Nuggets episode before you got there was that, like with Tom Robinson, you got it, you know, like he was in the punk scene, but he was also in the gay scene, which also meant he was going to discos.
Right.
So you can really get some of like the disco inspired bass and like dancey stuff. But yeah, no, I loved how soulful it was, and then suddenly it was like, oh, this is a good song to pogo to in the chorus, but then it goes right back to like the sleazy lounge disco. It's like this makes sense going back and forth to these, but I don't know if I would think it made sense if I was dancing to it actively. But I love it.
I wonder if he ever hung out with Rob Halford.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure they met and didn't talk about it because Halford wasn't out yet.
But what you're saying though. About district, about being part of the punk scene, but also the gay scene. So it reminds me a little bit of my cousin, because like back before like Spotify was really, I actually don't even know if Spotify was around, but so this would have been around 2012ish. But you can see what people are listening to on Facebook and stuff. They like have like shared their like playlists and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I have a cousin who is mostly into like kind of extreme metal, Slipknot, Dillinger Escape Plan. But then on occasion I'd see little things like Britney Spears pop in. And it was weird stuff like that. I was like, and then, not too much longer after that, he came out. And I was like, I kind of wondered.
Yeah.
There were clues.
Yeah. I really like the kind of stuff that he's picking up from going to discos as well is adding to the band as a whole. I think if he had leaned into that more on the first two songs, they would have been better songs. But yeah.
Hey, pull from all your influences.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, better decide which side you're on. The quote for this is, all-time classic from the Clash's best song, White Man and Hammersmith Palais. You think that's funny, turning rebellion into money. It's, there's, some stuff about, like, the commodification of the counterculture, or, like, the recuperation through the culture industry, if you want to get into, like, Theodore Adorno shit with this. But yeah.
What did Crass say? The name is Crass, not Clash.
Yeah.
I think that's something that is still applicable to modern times. 'Cause I think about that when I watch, like, I don't know, like bread tube people, or even like left tube in general. Like, especially like, I don't know, they do a sponsor and it feels weird, but at the same time, it's like, well, I know it's not a poverty cult, and they have to pay their editors, so it's frustrating.
Well, even Behind the Bastards, but I like how they make a gimmick out of it. It's like, but you know who won't burn down the villages? Dad's a sponsor of our show.
I will say this though, I'm calling them out. Stop taking BetterHelp ads.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, they're bad. Quit it.
Yeah.
I know you're listening, Robert.
Yeah. This might have been my favorite song of side 2. Favorite song of the album, still Up Against the Wall.
Definitely favorite song of side 2.
Yeah.
Although I do think Too Good to Be True is still a favorite song overall.
Too Good to Be True is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
my favorite one is this one. But yeah, Too Good to Be True is like second.
Yeah.
And then Up Against the Wall is third.
So, Steve, you're just wrong. I'm not going to allow that.
It makes sense that Steve is going on more the psych rock side, and we're going for more.
Yeah.
But yeah, next song, You Gotta Survive. Quote here is, I drink to the glorious victory of our brave American allies over little boys armed with slingshots and scout knives. I thought this was pretty nasty and told him America was just doing a job we all knew that had to be done. William Burroughs, The Wild Boys. That's a weird quote to put with that song.
Yes, I hate William Burroughs, but
I understand why you do. I enjoy some of his stuff, but I understand why he's annoying. Mm-hmm. He's not a good writer, but he had some interesting ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah, the punks love the beatniks.
Bukowski, that's my guy.
Yeah.
I thought this song had like a blues rock vibe. Like, what if Eric Clapton wasn't boring, kind of?
I liked how soulful the whole song was. I thought this was his best singing. It's not my favorite song, but I think I really liked the way he does like the more soulful stuff.
Yeah.
Like, his voice was really well suited for this particular kind of music and this key.
Yeah. I thought the tone of the guitar intro was like perfect, and the build-up part was really fucking cool.
So, since you brought it up, I do have to say, actually quite embarrassingly, in regards to guitar playing, not as a person, I fucking love Clapton. I mean, I grew up on a lot of Clapton stuff, and I love his guitar playing. Piece of shit that he is. But my first note on this song, You Gotta Survive, Jazz Lizzy feel.
Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah,
and the solo was absolutely perfect for the song, and it made me kind of think that now I love a lot of the really primitive punk rock, the stuff that's played by people like, I've been playing guitar for 2 months. It's literally the peak of my abilities at this moment.
That's always fun.
Here are 3 power chords. Yeah,
I love that kind of stuff, but punk rock played by people who really know how to play their instruments, it's different. Sometimes better, sometimes worse, but it's always just different when it's being played by someone who not only knows what they're doing, but also why they're doing it.
One thing I thought of while we were listening to this is it kind of reminded me of, especially when you were talking about their origins, where they were musicians first and then punk second. It kind of reminded me when we were listening to the Red Fang album and we found out they were like math rock guys.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
It's math rock guys playing stoner rock. So it just sounds different. Yeah.
But yeah, and then last song of the side and last of the album proper before we get to the other LP, which is singles, Power in the Darkness. Quote here is, I think, going to lead to what my notes are going to lead us to, too. But so let's get it out of the way. Conservatives and freedom. The Tories believe that the basic freedoms are being eroded. Freedom to avoid paying income tax, freedom to hang people, freedom to censor books, plays, and television. And that's a quote by Eric Idle, as of Monty Python.
Oh, nice.
Very good.
Yes.
Love that. My favorite Python, too. But yeah.
Yeah, I think me as well. I thought this song had sufficient cowbell.
Yeah, I like the cowbell intro. I like the dancey bass. This was the one. This particular part of punk, like the rock against racism scene, drew a lot from reggae. This was really the only song on the album that really felt like it was drawing from reggae.
Yeah, it was really funky, and I really enjoyed that.
I guess I didn't hear the reggae. What I heard was that's very similar to Black Magic Woman. Like
Yeah.
Carlos Santana / written by Peter Green of Fleetwood Mac. But I digress. But yeah, so it was this match of this pseudo Black Magic Woman bass line, and there is something else that I know. There's like a specific song from my parents' record collection, and I just can't pinpoint it. So I'm going to spend a lot of time listening to this song, trying to figure out what that is.
And I love the way that it talked, like, the first half of the song is basically him talking about what he thinks freedom is, and then he switches into, like, this character of, like, this stuffy, evil Tory guy talking about what he thinks freedom is, and just that emphasis on we can't find common ground with them because when we talk about something basic like freedom, we disagree on the basic definition.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it's like, these aren't people we can negotiate with. These are people who fundamentally see their freedom as their rights to tell us what to do.
They're free. It's just that. I would say it is someone who looks at the concept of, well, in order for me to have my freedom, I have to make sure that you can't have your freedom.
Which, unfortunately, the themes of this song have aged very well.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call out the Democrats here because, you mentioned that these are people that we can't negotiate with, yet there are many in the Democratic Party that think this is a sign that they need to shift rights. And it's like, you're never going to get those people.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can't negotiate with them. Stop.
So years ago, I did. So I didn't actually end up doing any volunteering. I went to a meeting with Planned Parenthood, kind of check it out. And one of the things they talked about is how the right would pick a really extreme anti-abortion view, so that basically they're trying to pull the negotiation their direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, hey, we want to just do this, so maybe we can compromise, and the compromise is fucking like horrendous too, as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
The Overton window. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Or the ratchet
they've
effect.
been working on the abortion thing since before I was even born.
Yeah.
And they eventually won. Like,
Yep.
the persistence is...
Enjoy your increased crime rate in 15 years.
Oi.
Yeah. There is one more thing we can talk about with this song, though. Love the song. It has slurs. It has slurs when he switches characters, and I understand why he did it. It is not the choice I would have made.
Yeah, well, it's also not the choice you have made in the last 10 years.
That's true. Yeah.
It's... you can only go so far as judging something from 1978.
Yeah, no, and like I understand it artistically. Like I'm not going to put this song in the same category as Rock and Roll N-Word by Patti Smith, for example, which I understand what she's doing and vehemently disagree with why she did it. Well, this is like, I understand what you're doing and it's not the choice I would have made in my current year. Yeah.
I'd be personally uncomfortable with that, but artistically I would even defend somebody doing it today if it was employed in the way that they employed it on this song. Now, I know a lot of people will hide behind comedy or art to do things like that, and in those cases, like, go fuck yourself. But if you're trying to make a point, and it's very obvious you're trying to make a point, I don't personally have a problem with that.
Yeah, there's a fine line to it, and that's, as far as quote unquote cancel culture and everything, I'm just a strong opponent of, like, you know what, I'll let you decide who you feel you need to cancel.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to judge you and say, well, clearly you're a fascist because you disagree with me.
Yeah.
Because that's going too far.
Yeah.
Because I knowing you as I know you, I trust you to make your own choices from a place of, like, this is what I feel is, for valid reasons, and not just because, I want to say the N-word. No.
Yeah. I do think it is worth pointing out, too, that he used the slur for himself before slurs that applied to other people, and that, like, freedom from the pansies, he's gay.
Right.
And then before it moved on to different immigrant groups and the N-word and all that. But yeah.
Well, on the movie front, I recently watched Django Unchained and then The Hateful Eight, where they make liberal use of that word.
Well,
but
Tarantino.
Yeah. But given what they're doing in the movie, and maybe I would feel differently about this if I wasn't a white dude. So, like, I acknowledge that. But given what they were doing in the movie, I think it's period correct and displays, like, how horrible those people were. So I think artistically it was a good choice.
Yeah, it's, and the other thing too is that how different forms of media are also judged. It's more acceptable in a movie because, well, he's a racist white guy. Of course he's going to say it.
Yeah.
It would be hard to portray him as a racist white guy with him not saying it. Whereas you can't necessarily make that same distinction in music.
I think this one's easier to make that distinction than some other songs.
Right,
but
right.
Because the way it was employed, it was very much like you would in, like, cinematically.
Right. Or books, for example. So there are, it's a fine line.
Yeah. This album is not canceled in my opinion, but yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, like, for instance, I think Guns N' Roses dropped an N-bomb on one of their songs, and that was definitely in a... that was a poor choice, guys.
Yeah, that was in a much worse way.
Yeah.
And
actually, I loved that song as a kid, too. And it was definitely shocking as a kid. But it's one of those things as I've gotten older, it's like, man, from a storyteller or personal growth standpoint, I can also understand what he was saying. Because he was talking about, he was a small town Indiana boy who comes to Los Angeles, and it's just like, what the fuck is going on? So I get that concept, but going to the lengths that he did to describe that, didn't, it didn't really show, at least at that time, any kind of personal growth.
Right, yeah.
It was just kind of like, well, this is still what I feel.
Yeah.
And,
I get he was trying to convey a message, but it was very...
It's less defensible in that situation.
I think there was a racist band that covered it, and he didn't like it that they did, but they didn't have to change anything. So, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't hear anything about that, but...
Yeah. I don't remember which one it was, but yeah.
Another thing I was thinking about, because we were talking about this as we were putting the record on, as we were discussing the F slur, and it reminds me of, like, that Louis C.K. bit where he's defending his use of it, and I understand his perspective on that, because a lot of people use those words without realizing what they mean. But then he goes on to continue to use it, and I disagree with that,
And this very much knew what the slur meant, but in a way that I think worked artistically for the song, for the point you wanted to make. But our enemies are racist. But
like I said before, it shows how horrible those people actually are.
Yeah,
and I think maybe it's important to see that unmasked once in a while.
And then, like, putting, like, that collection of individual slurs to different people, and then ending it with freedom from the likes of you, it shows how much people who are oppressed by people like the Tories have in common and should stand with each other and not divide themselves. You know, like yeah.
So I just thought, though, as three white guys, maybe we're not the ones who should be having this discussion.
Maybe not.
Probably not.
You know, maybe our perspectives aren't needed at this point in time.
Maybe not.
You mean there's not? There certainly aren't millions, or probably not millions, thousands of white men voicing their opinions on the internet.
Nah, probably
Yeah.
millions.
What it is interesting though, I have read an entire book about, like an entire like academic style book about the use of the N-word in punk songs, and they are easier on this song than they are on Los Angeles by X or Rock and Roll N-word by Patti Smith, for example. But yeah,
Patti Smith, you're no poet. Might be a handbook Rimbo's arm.
I wonder if Tom Robinson knew Crash. Probably did. They probably didn't interact much, but they probably encountered each other because England is a tiny island.
It's an island full of Ingalls.
Yep. All right, so that was the album proper. We'll get into the singles.
All right, here we go.
I did look it up. That was a live EP.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, considering it was live in the late 70s, early 80s, it could easily be live in quotation marks.
It could be, yeah. All right, we are rolling. That was side 4. Side 3. Side 3 is basically all the tracks from a live EP they put out between their first single and their first album called Rising Free. And yeah, it was a good set with like a good variety of songs. Well, of the 4 they chose. One of them is clearly the best song, and we'll get to that. But yeah, it was like good energy, good songs. I liked it. Crowd sounded engaged.
There was only one song I didn't really care for, but overall, it had a lot of really great songs with a variety of different kinds of sounds. The first one kind of reminded me of like a Deep Purple song, and then Glad to Be Gay had some of the sleazy elements that I really enjoyed from the album proper. And then Right On Sister, I thought, had a really cool like vibe that would be that like Marty McFly could use to freak out people in the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only one song I didn't like, and I think we're going to be different on which song that is.
Oh, that'll be interesting. Yeah, but yeah, it was a good mix. It was a good high energy thing. I liked the idea of doing like a little live EP between your first single and your first full-length album. I think that's a good way to keep interest and keep momentum going while you put something out.
Right.
I thought it was for the most part a good collection of songs, and I liked. There's one on there which I think was clearly the best one and should have been on the album. Like if they had taken out Winter of '79 and put Glad to Be Gay there instead, it would have probably been a stronger album.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah.
Yeah, I would have made that move. Yeah.
You hear that, Tom? Steve would have made that move.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll go track by track. First track was Don't Take No for an Answer. I thought that was a good choice for an opener. It encapsulates everything that really works for the band in a single song. You know, like the rocking guitar solo, the sunny organ, the disco bass, righteous, furious lyrics. They didn't have, it wasn't as like strong of a statement as some of the other political songs because it wasn't as
Stark.
It wasn't as stark and specific as songs like Glad to Be Gay or Up Against the Wall or yeah. But yeah, it was a good song. I liked Or Power in the Darkness. It was a good song.
Yeah.
I could actually hear in my head like a version of that by like Deep Purple, but I could also hear Rob Halford, like early rock-a-rolla Judas Priest doing that song.
I think we're hearing the same thing, but I described it a little bit differently. Now, before we even get to that part, so right from the start, it was very driving, There's a little bit of syncopation in there that really kind of kept things interesting. I really liked that. But when we got to the chorus, I can only describe it as Iron Maiden trying to sound like Tom Petty.
Yeah, I can see that.
But you mentioned the guitar solo, and the guitar solo in that song, fuck, I mean, that is the kind of guitar solo I wish I could just pull out of my ass at will.
Yeah.
But I was kind of surprised though that it also did follow kind of like the what Pete Battalion once told me about the pop rules of songwriting that he learned, I think, at Full Sail. How it's intro, verse, chorus, bridge, and then chorus, chorus until you fucking die.
Now I'm gonna like carefully comb through my own songs to make sure I don't only do that, because you do that stuff unconsciously sometimes. Yeah.
All right, we'll do the outro chorus 8 times.
Yeah.
Oh, so do you have like some really complex lyrics? No, it's just fight the system. But since it's 8 times, you actually have to do it 32 times. You say fight the system.
Yeah. Ready to move on, Martin. It was a fun sing along. I don't feel like it was an essential song, but it was like fun to listen to and fun to hear like the crowd singing along to
I liked it.
Yeah.
It very much just kind of like what I imagined. Like drunk Englishmen sitting around a pub. Just one guy starts singing, they all start joining in. Pretty soon, like 20 guys all singing the same song. But that's not the note I wrote for that song. Do you know what the note is I wrote for that song, Dave?
What?
I wrote, I need a drink. No, seriously, Dave, can you grab me a beer?
Okay. Discuss among yourselves.
Now, for me, at first I thought it reminded me of something like Sid Barrett would write, and then Pete pointed out that it probably just sounds like a song that any English person would write.
Another bloody pub!
Yeah. But then
Thank you.
Yes.
it reminded me of how I recently went on a Bowie binge, and I got all the way up to Diamond Dogs. But I started with this very first self-titled album, and it kind of reminded me of some of the songwriting on that. To me, it felt a little like aimless, I guess.
So, you're telling me that Steve Smith, member of the Alliterates, recently went on a Bowie binge up until Diamond Dogs.
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah. Diamond Dogs is a great album. But anyway, yeah, like, to me, like, it was fun. Like, if I were at a moment at a live set where they did something like this, I would be singing along. It would be a highlight for me. On vinyl, it doesn't feel as essential as the others, but yeah, it's good. I like it. I'm glad it was there.
It ain't got nothing on Sell Me a Coat.
No. Now we're to the song that I have said is the best song on this side, and in the running for the best song on the whole double album. Glad to Be Gay.
Yeah, it had a kind of a theater vibe to it, and like I said before, the sleazy elements. But oddly, it kept tricking my recognition senses in my brain because it has a melody that I'm pretty sure they used in, I want to say, Sonic 3.
It's the angriest song on the album too,
Yeah.
even angrier than Power in the Darkness or Up Against the Wall. It's very specific. I like how specific the lyrics get and how it gets to everything that sucked about being gay in London in 1977-78. Just all the shit he had to put up with.
But what I liked, it wasn't even just that. He wasn't direct about it. He wasn't saying, all right, so, I was a gay man in 1970s London, and here's the list of things that sucked about it. It was very subversive. Kind of like, I don't believe a thing that they're saying about the British police.
Yeah.
I would never do that.
Yeah.
I don't believe that sort of thing happens here.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a very good reason it was the only song by the band you'd heard before this. Like,
Right.
it's a great song. It's an all-time classic.
Yeah. But I think from a songwriter perspective, by framing it in the sense of these are the things that don't actually, I don't think happen, but almost trying to come from an angle of, I don't know what, deniability, ignorance maybe more.
Yeah.
It kind of, I think it's a better way of kind of expressing, the listener and saying, oh shit, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even in things like, have I done that?
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
have I done things that I've unknowingly been wrong about?
Yeah.
And so I think that it's more it drives home the point more than as if he was telling him, hey, here's all the things that suck about being gay in the 70s in London.
Yeah, and doing it with like a level of irony and sarcasm makes the bitterness hit harder.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the lyrics had a particular venom behind them that was enjoyable, despite the the subject matter not being.
Well, and here's the thing that I've always had, I don't want to say an issue with the song, but always felt kind of uncomfortable, is it's, for the same reasons that I'd feel awkward singing along to, as much of a banger as it is, I don't feel comfortable singing along to I'm Black and I'm Proud, but James Brown.
That is a banger. Yeah.
Yeah, but as a white guy, that's not my song.
Yeah.
That song's not for me. And
People would make fun of you if you sang it out loud in public for good reason. Yeah.
Yes.
And if you're alone, your assigned FBI agent will listen to it and laugh.
Yeah.
And he's a judgmental bitch. But for this one, it's like, straight or gay, how do you not sing along with that chorus? It just pulls you in like, I need to say these words.
Yeah, it's so good. Like, this is my go-to Pride song. Like, this is one of my all-time favorite, like, protest songs of all time. This is all-time classic, and it really should have gone on the album.
Yeah.
Okay, so I figured it out. So, Sonic 3, it has a similar melody, so that must mean that Robotnik is...
Gay.
No, Robotnik's not gay. Robotnik's oppressing the animals who are the allegory for the gays by putting them in cold robot metal suits.
So
Robotnik is homophobic doing conversion therapy.
Yes, and Sonic the
and probably
Hedgehog.
off the closeted gay.
And Sonic the Hedgehog is Tom Robinson.
You heard it here, folks.
All right.
We beat Hareton Splimby to his Sonic episode because he doesn't put out content ever.
Now, I will say that what you're hearing as either sleazy or, did you say theater?
I said theater and sleazy.
Okay.
Sleazy theater. Sleazer.
Well, you know what? There's actually a better word for sleazy theater that you youngins may not know.
Burlesque.
Vaudeville.
Oh,
That is
yes.
a very vaudeville song.
That's probably the word that I should have used, but
Yeah. Because it's not sleazy in the same way as...
Yeah, I don't picture
Too Good to Be
Leisure
True, or- yeah.
Suit Larry.
no, I didn't either. No.
Yeah, kind of like a theatrical vaudeville. Yeah.
You know what though? Rob Halford, if you're listening, I would love to hear you do, and not like a heavy metal take. I would love to hear you do a take on Glad to Be Gay.
Just like a pretty straightforward one.
Yeah.
With the band you have, but don't try to like metal it up. Just, yeah.
We'll play it for you, Rob. Contact us, and we'll be your backing band.
And I love your Instagram with the cat, or not Instagram. Was it Instagram?
I think it was Instagram. I don't remember now.
Yeah, where it's just like Rob Halford and his fucking cat.
I like how normal he is, honestly.
Yeah.
It's so good. Last song, Right On Sister. Good song, high energy. Lyrics didn't hit as hard as Glad to Be Gay. It was like a nice little, like little feminist anthem. Like she needs you and me like a fish needs a bike. It's like, it doesn't have the same strength because it's not about him and his own experience to some degree. Like nothing. Like I don't disagree with any part of it. It just doesn't have the same punch. But like as a high energy live track, it was really good.
Yeah, Strickland would not like this song. It'd be too loud for him.
Who's Strickland?
Back to the Future, the principal that was like.
Oh, well, I don't know Back to the Future quite as well as you do, I guess, Steve.
Apparently not.
You know, I'm not a time traveler in the way that you are.
Yeah, Pete, what were your thoughts? We haven't gotten to the song you don't like yet, so I'm guessing it's this one.
Yeah.
Since it's the last one, yeah.
It was rocking.
Yeah.
But, meh.
Yeah.
But, you know, I also noted, though, that it would be very difficult for any song to have any kind of punch after Glad to Be Gay.
Yeah.
Honestly, Glad to Be Gay should have been the last song on the side for that reason.
Yeah.
There's just no way to top it, really. I did say, though, the chorus reminded me, for whatever reason, a lot of something the Specials would have done. You know,
yeah.
It didn't sound ska at all, but it was just like the chord progression is like, yeah, I can see that definitely, especially on like, you know, the really early Specials.
It sounds like something a ska band could have done something with, even though it wasn't ska.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Ska adjacent.
Yes. But
Ska-jacent.
then it got into one of my pet peeves, my musical pet peeves. I fucking hate, I mean fucking want to destroy shit because I hate so much pretty much any time where they break it down, it's just the drums and we're doing a sing-along chorus, everybody with the drums, yeah, then we bring the instruments back in, yeah. Fucking A, I hate that cheesy bullshit.
I will say that's something that, yeah, isn't great in the studio, but like in a live setting, it's more fun.
Fuck that, no. Burn the goddamn venue down.
Steve, what did you think of that? Like, you just rockin' song? Yeah.
Yeah, I pretty much had the same thing to say. It's a high energy, old school rock song that the principal from Back to the Future would not enjoy, and I think all the students at the dance would probably dance to it.
Yeah. Home stretch. 3 songs left. We have their first single, the B-side to the first single, which is a Dylan cover, then the B-side for Up Against the Wall. So,
Yay.
last side.
That's gonna be a problem for me.
What?
I don't do Dylan covers.
Well, you're gonna hate the Alliterates next album. Just all covers of like a Rolling Stone played at different tempos with different instrumentation.
That's okay, because I hate the Alliterates' first album too.
Hi-yo! And we're back for side D.
I gotta leave, guys. There's no way that was that funny.
Well, it's 4 sides we've been drinking.
Well, and the joke itself wasn't funny, but the timing was amazing. Opening track. Well, it's hard to talk about this as a unified side because it is an A side of a non-album single and its B side, and then the B side of the album single. And so it's like, you know, you can't talk about them as a unit. You can talk about them in the context of all the music as a whole, but these are songs that were meant to be listened to pretty much on their own at this point. So, but yeah, 2468 Motorway, love that song. It's a good song for driving, like a good steady driving beat that feels like you're moving forward. It's my second favorite road trip mix song after Roadrunner by the Modern Lovers. Just, yeah, classic for a reason. Also should have gone on the album.
Dave, are you in love with rock and roll?
I am in love with rock and roll. Like my ideal version of this album would have probably swapped out Winter of '79 and Man You Never Saw with, like, probably started with 2468 Motorway and then do Glad to Be Gay and then leave the rest as is.
To be honest, I was expecting more. I'm not sure why this song was even a single. I did not care for it one bit.
I thought it thumped. And it reminded me of the same Thin Lizzy comparison I've made a number of times to a number of their songs. The kind of the same like pub rock kind of tune. Overall, a good song. Yeah. I'm probably right between Dave and Pete on this one.
The B-side to that was a Bob Dylan cover, which is kind of stuck out like a sore thumb because there's nothing else on all four sides of this that sounds anything like it.
Yeah.
I Shall Be Released.
It had such a different vibe to everything else. It was kind of off-putting. I'm also kind of tired, so that probably didn't help.
Maybe, yeah.
So I have a long-standing disliking, I won't say hatred, but disliking of probably 85% of what Bob Dylan's done. A few things here and there are all right. So I was really kind of surprised at how much I liked this. I thought there's a real nice feel to it. And for whatever reason, it doesn't sound anything like this, but my emotional response to it, I guess, is I have the same feeling when I hear Maggie May by Rod Stewart. It's just it just has such a laid back, mellow feel. It's comforting.
It reminded me a lot of the Beatles. Like, it reminded me a lot of, like, Hey Jude or Let It Be.
Yeah, I mean, I can hear that. But the other thing that, we've talked about the guitar soloing on all four sides.
Yes.
And, well, now we have. Anyway, but it wasn't just that, this guy could play. It was tasteful. It fit the song. And I don't know, maybe the Dylan original had a similar or maybe the same guitar solo. I don't know. I'm guessing probably not.
Dylan stuff, even when he's working with the lead guitarist, doesn't have a lot of solos.
Not typically. I don't think so, no. But I was impressed by not just the restraint, but just like the thoughtfulness put into the solo.
You should look up, since you said you don't like Dylan, because I'm curious what you'd think about it, because you'll either like it or hate it. But there's a 80s performance of Dylan on David Letterman where he has the Plugs as his backing band. Mm-hmm. And I think it's awesome. He does Joker Man with a punk band backing him, and it works. But I'm really curious what you would think as someone who, in general, doesn't like Dylan. I like Dylan. Part of it is nostalgia because he's like my dad's favorite artist. But I also think he kicks ass because, I think that his performance of like a Rolling Stone when a bunch of snooty acoustic people were yelling Judas at him, and so he just turned up the volume really loud and played it even louder and faster was really good. But I also think that it's a good song. I think Desolation Row is a great song. There's definitely peaks and valleys in his career, but as a whole, I really like Dylan.
Part of the thing, and this is going to be going on a bit of a tangent, so feel free to edit this out later if need be.
Nope. Context.
But so my dad is a big Dylan fan, and I remember probably 15 years ago, he's talking to me about an interview he read with Bob Dylan, and Bob Dylan said something, and I still think this is I hate when people say shit like this, how he doesn't so much write the songs as the songs just come to him, which is, I mean, yeah, I fucking hate that shit. But
I hate
anyway,
when people say that, but so many people say that.
Right.
I can't not like someone just because they say stupid shit like that.
Anyway,
yeah.
So my dad tells me this, and part of it's just because I'm a musician and I write songs, etc., and so he's trying to kind of get on the same wavelength with me to a degree, just talk about something that I'm into, or have an interest in, and I kind of just fucking shit in his mouth,
Yeah.
because I had to have my opinion that I hate when people say shit like that, and I really hurt my dad's feelings.
Oh,
15 years later, I still have a lot of guilt over that interaction.
Oh.
So and yes, there are slight tears in my eyes, but I swear they're from allergies.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like, I'm sure you would probably, if you could disconnect yourself from your baggage for Dylan, find, like, 2 of his many albums that you would at least like. But that is going into a pretty vast catalog, and I think there's a lot more than 2 good ones. But I think, I think everyone can find two Dylan albums that they like, but it does take a lot of work to get to that point if you're not...
He did a song for the movie Wonder Boys. I really like that song.
When Dave went to put on the record and you said you don't do Dylan covers, that made me go, oh, I know exactly what album we need to do once I get back to doing oddball albums, because
Dylan's Christmas album?
No.
Dylan's Jesus album?
No. I blindly bought...
Or Streisand's Christmas album.
Yes. No, I blindly bought Mountain's Masters of War album, and all it is the band Mountain doing all Dylan covers. And I didn't know it at the time, so I listened to it for years until my dad pointed out that they were Bob Dylan covers.
Steve, what's your relationship to Bob Dylan? We haven't found that out yet.
Basically the same as like with Iggy Pop and previously David Bowie. Not as much as I would like.
Yeah, I think you should give it a try. I don't think his earlier like acoustic folk stuff would... I don't know, you listen to acoustic folk stuff, but that's not the kind of stuff I think of when I think of you. But yeah, he did a lot. He has a lot of great stuff. I don't know, maybe you should just do a greatest hits album and see what you like and go from there.
Well, and I know I tried at one point, but that was way too early for it to have worked.
Yeah.
It's like when I tried to listen to the Grateful Dead, all I heard was country rock, and I'm like, well, that's it. I ain't trying again.
Grateful Dead does sound like country rock. Like when I saw their art like the first time when I was a teenager, I was like, oh, this is going to be some heavy shit.
Oh, I thought they'd be like Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
But the song "Touch of Grey," I remember the video for that when I was a kid, and I like that song. I hate the Grateful Dead, but I like that song. But with Dylan, I remember I was reading the Laura Jane Grace, her book.
Speaking of slurs,
yeah,
that she can definitely use, but I would feel weird about saying. Yeah,
yeah, it's like I do think there could be an exception made since it's the literal title of her book.
Yep,
but I shall digress. And she talks about before she had transitioned, I think she was working as a bartender, and I think she was hooking up with their boss, and they'd listen to Bob Dylan and fuck. And I'm just like, no, you're a punk rocker. How can you listen to Bob Dylan?
A lot of punks like Bob Dylan. The Plugs, for example. It's funny too, like my dad and I don't have exactly the same music taste. He tends to like more folk singer-songwriter stuff, which I do like too, but like it's not like my main thing. But like Dylan is a point where we come together. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. I picked up a lot of boomer dad rock from my dad.
And then the last track was I'm Alright Jack, which was a good like punk song that you could pogo to. It definitely matched the energy of Up Against the Wall. It was faster. It was the most straightforward punk song on this whole group of songs. Mm-hmm. But it was definitely a B-side. It was a good B-side, but it was a B-side.
I disagree.
Well, okay, what's your opinion?
Fucking A. It was almost a goddamn Oi song.
Yeah.
Hold on, listen to all right, so I was in the bathroom taking a piss when the song came on, and my head just started bobbing. You're saying pogo? I head bob. I don't head bang. I head bob. I mean, I loved it. Favorite of everything. This is now my favorite Tom Robinson song.
The B-side to the album single.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's a good song, but yeah.
You know, because all right, so I like the pub rock. I like and appreciate. All right, so I mean, there's a total of 3 songs I really didn't care for, but I like and appreciate, you know, the overall feel of what he writes and what he plays. But you know, being my bread and butter, my main love is kind of like the real driving, you know, like punk rock, you know, shit. Fucking just having this Oi song at the end, it just brought it home. I loved it so much.
It was the most moshable song.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Like, you could do a circle pit to this one.
I shit, you know, we're just sitting here. I just want to headbutt you right now.
Yeah, no, I thought it had a really great like energy and reminded me of like some of my favorite like street punk kind of stuff. Like it reminded me of the Clash in a lot of ways. So I thought it was a really fun song.
Yeah, they were definitely. Yeah, they were they played Rock Against Racism, so they were running in the same circles as like the Clash and Stiff Little Fingers and Sham 69 and all that.
Although, now that I think about it, I do wonder if there's a possibility. Because, you know, at the time, they were all pretty young, probably somewhere between 20 25.
In that range, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, fairly, you know, immature songwriters to a degree. I can understand being in a situation like, hey, you know, so we came from, like, this scene and playing this kind of stuff here, but these guys, we're playing shows with these guys that are doing these like, really fast, straightforward songs. Maybe we should do a song like that. I can see that being a conscious effort to write an Oi song.
Yeah, definitely, and they did a good job at it. It's a good song, yeah. But I don't know if it would have fit on like the album, so it was like great as a B-side.
Well,
it was fitting there. Yes, good point.
Well, obviously, that song was the result of Tom Robinson going through all 8 stages and collecting all the Chaos Emeralds.
Yes. Yes. Well, like the other, like to me, the other 2 songs that weren't on the album that should have been were ones that I could have seen where they had slotted in, like 2468 Motorway and Glad to Be Gay. Like, I guess I'm All Right, Jack. You could have slotted that out for Grey Cortana, but I liked that Grey Cortana was on the album, so I wouldn't have dropped that. You know, yeah.
Right. But, you know, and that's one of the things I don't typically think about. My mindset when I see like an unreleased track or whatever. Yeah, typically like an unreleased track on a compilation. It's like, this is such a fucking great song. Why wasn't this on an album? But that's something I don't really think of in the terms of like, okay, well, which album?
Yeah, which album and what would it replace?
Where at? You know, even if you didn't replace it, what 2 songs would it go between?
Yeah. How would it flow with the other track? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think I remember you mentioning one time that your favorite Dillinger 4 song, you're not sure what album that would fit on, and that's like kind of a obscure B-side.
All right, so it's not really too much obscure, but yeah, it was an unreleased track. It came out on "Hopelessly Devoted to You" Volume 2, I believe.
Is that like a compilation of different bands?
Yeah. Hopeless Records. Their compilations was hopeless. There was Hopelessly Devoted 1, 2, 3, 4, etc.
Yeah.
But the reason why it'd be difficult for me to try and pinpoint what Dillinger 4 album that should go on is when I actually got into Dillinger 4. Because so I knew of Dillinger 4 for probably about 10-ish years.
Yeah.
10, 15 years. Before I ever actually started really listening to them. And at that time, it was LimeWire. And so... how
many viruses did you get?
Surprisingly few.
Oh, nice.
Your computer, it was probably like Mr. Burns. Your computer had every virus, so
they canceled each other out.
Yeah, each other out. But it was... but yeah, it was weird, though, because... It wasn't just that I download the albums that way. It was also the fact that I'm a big shuffle person. You know, I love putting all 10,000, 11,000 songs on my iPod and just hitting shuffle. You know, I love the weird things like going from Anal Cunt to Marvin Gaye. Yeah. I love shit like that.
Well, and one of the things I love about doing that kind of thing is you can kind of develop a really good appreciation for like a side 2, track 4, because you can find a place that it fits between two other songs by completely different artists that have nothing to do with it, and it becomes transcendent in that moment.
Right, because you have a chance to judge it in and of itself, essentially. But so even when I would say, you know what, I want to listen to just Dillinger 4, well, I'd go to the Dillinger 4 file. I have 4 albums plus some B-sides and unreleased stuff, and so I couldn't really tell you, even, especially since their song titles don't ever match up with what the songs are about or what the lyrics are. I can't tell you, oh yeah, you know what? I bet this song would be perfect after Who Didn't Kill Bambi.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I used to collect singles for Megadeth because they had a lot of like weird Japanese exclusives, so it was just kind of fun to collect. And so yeah, a lot of times what I would do is I just make my own B-side compilations on my iPod, and so like sometimes I would even it almost felt like making your own album in a sense, compiling it yourself like that.
That's why I love like a lot of singles bands, is like I like finding like the hidden gems among the B-sides, because oftentimes like a great singles band will have like just a ton of great like A and B sides that never make it on an album, and you can't figure out how they would fit on an album, but they're just kick-ass songs and they're great. Yeah, like the best, in my opinion, the best Buzzcocks album is their singles compilation. And I think like only 1 or 2 of the singles on it actually made it onto an album. It's mostly just like non-album A-sides and B-sides, and it's the best album the band ever did.
Well, one of my favorite Nirvana albums is the Incesticide collection. I think, despite it being a compilation, I think it works pretty good as just an album on its own even.
Yeah.
Give Me Convenience or Give Me Death.
That's a good one.
And partially because that was my introduction to Dead Kennedys as well. But it's still my favorite one.
Yeah. Well, and it's like the best, when I said the best Clash song was quoted on the back here, that made it onto the US version of their first album, but that was a non-album single, White Man and Hammersmith Palais. Like, you know, like not every great song belongs on an album necessarily.
Wait, you mean it's not White Man and Hammersmith Palace? I've been saying it wrong for all these years.
But yeah, it's like I think one of the things the internet did that was good was it kind of brought singles back a little bit. But now it's got to the point where people aren't listening to whole albums anymore, so it's gotten bad again. But yeah. I think there's a place for a good collection of songs.
It's the ebb and flow of the music lack of industry.
Yeah. There's like a definite place for like a particular set of songs in a particular order, and then just like kick-ass high-energy songs that stand just by themselves and aren't meant to be surrounded by a bunch of songs by the same artist.
And a band like Mastodon fits in with that well.
Yeah.
Mastodon songs can be great on their own, but on their albums, you go from track to track to track. There's a flow. There's an intention. With things.
Yeah, and I also think like bands that are willing to recognize what songs are good as non-album singles, which ones are good in the flow of a song, are the ones that tend to avoid the sophomore slump a lot of the time with their albums.
Right. You know what? My favorite NoFX song is the unreleased track as well. So
yeah, bring back singles where it's the song that you're supposed to listen to, and then another song that kicks ass, but you're not necessarily meant to listen to right afterwards. That's not quite as good as the first one. That's the way to release a lot of music, but then also keep the album going. Yeah.
Some of my early music discovery memories are of scouring the internet trying to find specific bootlegs or even specific studio songs that were either never released or were released as some weird Japanese B-side or or just I've even run into situations where it's a band released a song on the internet and then the link for it went down, so it's really hard to find now, which we're increasingly running into less of, because I think a lot of stuff is either on archive.org or on YouTube. But I remember like hunting for that kind of stuff was a lot of fun.
Then there was when you would download a lot of songs from like Napster or Kazaa. and they would be labeled wrong, or the artist would be wrong. Or there wouldn't be like a track listing, and so you would play the album and it would play the songs in alphabetical order. Because there wasn't a track listing, and so that's just how it would burn.
Yeah. Or you get the songs that are labeled as an artist, but they're like some, I don't know, some little band. I remember there was a song going around the file sharing networks called Hunger, and it was labeled as a Metallica Megadeth collaboration. And I don't remember what it sounds like, but it doesn't sound like Metallica or Megadeth collaborating. But it's just so funny. Like, you see forum posts for years like, hey, where can I find Hunger by Megadeth?
What was great, too, was like, one thing that was really common on Napster was Sex and Candy by Marcy Playground. Kept getting labeled as a Nirvana song. It sounds nothing like Nirvana. It came out years after Kurt Cobain had died, but yeah, it's Sex and Candy by Nirvana. Song to get off of Napster.
You're right. So Guttermouth, who has very rare instances you hear anything outside of guitar, bass, and drums and vocals, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Yet somehow Adam and his package, Punk Rock High School, was labeled as a Guttermouth song by so many times. And it's a song, for those who don't know, that is really just a drum machine, a little bit of guitar, and vocals.
Yeah.
So nowhere close to anything Guttermouth.
And like the guitar is a solo. Like there's, a synth sequenced in with the drum machine. It's not a guitar. Yeah.
And a partial Cutting Crew cover.
Yeah. How did that song, of all songs, get labeled as Guttermouth?
Fuck if I know. Because it's a funny punk song?
Yeah.
I miss the Wild West days of the internet sometimes.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
These days I'm starting to believe more and more in the dead internet theory. That's the theory that the internet is almost completely fake and everything we see is like algorithm driven by bots or nothing.
I can see why people believe that. I don't believe that there is a level of coordination to make it be at that point. I just think it's just that stupid on momentum at this point.
Yeah.
I used to think that the internet was going to be humanity's saving grace because, all the information is available now for everybody to see.
And also all the misinformation.
Well, I remember the Arab Spring uprisings, like when there were a bunch of people in a lot of places in the Middle East, largely in Egypt though, who were coordinating a political revolution on Twitter mainly.
Yeah.
And just like I remember like seeing that and thinking like, this is the future of humanity. This is hope. This is what will overthrow everything that's wrong with us. And then to see like how quickly that got like crushed and co-opted, it's like, no. Yeah.
Well, even like, January 6th. I was just like, it's the wrong people doing it.
The wrong people doing it for the wrong reason.
It's the right thing to do, but it's the wrong people for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the internet's not going to save us, but I do think I'm not utterly hopeless though. I think people will save us. Like I think we'll save us, but
I think
it's going to have to be us. It's not going to be like an external authority figure that will.
I was going to say, I think we will all be dead in 50 years.
We will all be dead in 50 years.
Well, scientists say that the first person to live to 200 is already alive. And surely it'd be me who eats McDonald's multiple times a week.
Yeah.
Just like our president-elect.
I don't think the current anyone currently alive will live to be 200 years old, because I think the people who are saying that were too optimistic about climate collapse not making that impossible.
Right.
It's like that meme I've seen where it's like, humanity, it's the year 2000, and humanity is exploring the deepest reaches of space. And then underneath, it's like, man, God bless you, old sci-fi. You had such high hopes for us.
Yeah.
Where's my flying car?
Where's my flying car?
Where's my hoverboard?
Yeah.
After seeing the Cybertruck, I really hope it's not Tesla that makes hover cars.
They'll explode with you inside, and you can't unlock it.
The most devastating thing I've heard about anything being reviewed is when Cody Johnson said that driving the Cybertruck is like driving a printer.
My favorite thing about the Cybertruck... Okay, my favorite funny thing is that raccoons keep breaking into it or trying to break into it because it looks like a dumpster.
Yeah.
My favorite dark thing that I shouldn't laugh at because someone died was that Mitch McConnell's sister-in-law drowned in one because it locked her in when she drove it into a pond.
Damn, that's brutal.
Yeah. That it was Mitch McConnell's sister-in-law, and, like, no regulation has hit it, even though the sister-in-law of the Senate Minority Leader was killed by one.
Wow. That's wild. I'm going to laugh even harder when I see him around town.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else that's been that much of an utter failure.
Back to it being funny. People keep on almost accidentally severing their fingers with it because it's not safe to close.
Yeah, even on purpose. I've seen people stick their fingers in it to test it, and then they're like, ah! Ow! Yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
Anyway, that was Power in the Darkness by the Tom Robinson Band, the U.S. version that had all the songs that had come out before it as a bonus disc. So, yeah, I would recommend this album for anyone who wants some righteously angry songs that you can do kind of like that you can dance to at parts, but also that you can pogo to if you want, or even mosh to in a few rare instances. I like this album quite a bit. I like the moment in time that produced it, and I liked how different it is from a lot of albums that are like it, but like how well it fits within that.
I will say, as somebody that's into like really heavy rock, like Deep Purple or Black Sabbath or any of those psychedelic type bands, this album would be one I would definitely recommend. The organ playing, I think, was fantastic, and I just love that like heavy organ playing that reminds me of John Lord. And the guitar playing, I thought, throughout the entire thing was exquisite. I thought the vocals were great on each track. I thought it was a wonderful listen, and as somebody that really enjoys like 70s style hard rock, it really tripped my trigger.
If you want to listen to something that combines what worked with Deep Purple with what worked with The Clash, this is probably what you would go for.
That makes sense.
It definitely sounds like those two Cronenberg together.
I want to say thank you for bringing me over for this one. This is a great album.
Yeah.
Like I said, not everything hit with me, but no, after like 20-ish years of only knowing one song, and my own fault because I didn't look into it further, but because that one song is acoustic, is kind of like, yeah, this is a great song. Probably won't like everything else, but no, very unexpected. I was not expecting anything like this at all. So pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Well, you don't have any pluggables because you're retiring from music, and good for you.
So I will use this moment to announce that I have acquired the exclusive rights to your hologram, and it will be opening up for the KISS hologram tour in 2030.
And I just want to say, even though I'm retired from music, there was one last show on December 14th, and as I understand, this podcast isn't going to be released until after December 14th, so I'm going to let you know that you're missing a great concert on December 14th, unless you happen to be there, which if you were, great job. Glad you came. Hopefully you helped, buy a toy or, a lot of money for the kids. Fantastic if you did. If you didn't, well,
you missed it. You missed the end of an era.
If you are an archaeologist from the future that also has access to time travel, you'll be able to go. witnessed that. So,
But I won't tell you which December 14th.
You could probably pick it out by context clues, but yeah, if you listened to the whole episode and took notes.
well, it's sometime between the year 2000 and 2750.
So what you're saying is that at some point in time, someone's going to listen to this and break it down the same way they broke down Ice Cube's song about It Was a Good Day?
Yes.
Had to have been March 6, 1995.
But yeah, that was Power in the Darkness by the Tom Robinson Band. Catch you on the flip side.
Get out of my house.
Side 1, Side B with Dave and Steve is a Floof Goof Studios production. You could find us on Instagram at KillRockMusicSWS and Dave_Diction. You can find us on Bluesky at KillRock Music and Beastmaster General. Check out our musical projects, The Alliterates and Lucid Fugue, on all major streaming platforms, and links to each at my website, killrockmusic.com. That's KILRAVOCK music.com. This also includes my past projects, Megaton and Valley of Shadows, and my current solo project, Kill Rock. You can also find Dave's past project, Gong Farmer, at GONGFERMOUR.bandcamp.com. Thanks.
Everyone we worked with is dead.
Really ripped.
Yeah.
I need to change my pants.